All right, guys, welcome to this week's Chalk Talk. Our module had been around the role of the assistant coach, and you had some leadership theories attached to that. I am very excited to have our guest here with us, Coach Jonneshia Pineda, who is at the University of Louisville, which I have recently gotten to know and adore. And so I appreciate JP taking some time with us. I can just tell you from being around her, she has got the it factor about her, the charisma, very captivating, very dynamic in how she goes about doing things. She also is a new mom slash parent and has her little baby boy in there with her. So if you see him, oh, there he is. So she's juggling it all, doing it all, guys. Okay. So you know how this goes. I'm going to ask a couple questions. Okay. And then I need you to ask questions. You can physically raise your hand or use the little raise hand feature on Zoom. After a couple questions, I will become the facilitator, and it is a Q&A. We've got JP for about 45 minutes. All right. So let's maximize this time. JP, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. You're awesome. Day 2 of practice, I know, just wrapped up, so you got a lot going on. Can you share a little bit about us? Tell us about your story. I love for our students to hear different coaches' paths and just how unique each one is. So can you tell us a little about yourself and where you started, how you got here?
Absolutely. First off, thanks so much for having me. Can everyone hear me clearly? I'm just getting over a little cold. Louisville weather is very different from weather in South Carolina, if most of you all are there. We have, we call this place Schizoville because we have all 4 seasons in one day. But no, I really appreciate you having me on. Excited about this opportunity. Janet, thank you so much for inviting me. And we're just going to jump right in. Like Jana said, any questions, feel free to, ask and I guess raise your hand and cut me off because I would love to answer them. So a little bit about me and my path. Very interesting path. Um, Played Division II basketball. I wasn't athletic at all, but I could shoot. Played at Georgia Southwestern. I knew I wanted to be a coach, had a passion for it. I knew I wanted to help young women be successful, and I knew basketball could take them places because basketball took me a lot of places and gave me a lot of opportunities. So my senior year of college, I heard about this program called So You Want to Be a Coach that the WBCA has for young players. And I decided to enter, got picked, had someone write my story for me because I'm not a good writer, got in, and I just used what I knew. LaChina Robinson, if you all know who she is big time right now. ESPN, NBC, ABC hosting games. She was our host. So I went up to her and I said, "Hey, I'm just trying to get my foot in the door. I'll go mop a floor just for GA spot." And unfortunately, it was at for what's her name? Joy Williams, that was coaching at UNC UCF in Orlando. Unfortunately, that didn't help me. LaChina tweeted it, didn't get a job. So that didn't work out. And 3 years after that, still didn't have a coaching job. But what I learned was investing in myself. Every year, I worked at a gym, at a rec center. I started training young women that came up to the gym. I built connections with athletes at Georgia Tech, started coaching AAU basketball, found myself coaching the number one AAU team in the country, FBC, who's still probably the best program in the country, had multiple players go to UConn, Florida State, Duke, Georgia Tech. However, no coaching job came. Got a little discouraged, but I kept investing in myself, going to Final Fours, meeting people a year or two later after that. So it's about 2016. Michelle Joseph at Georgia Tech calls me up for a GA spot, and I was grateful for that opportunity. I was a GA for a year and a half. My second year, I got promoted to become assistant coach. One thing I learned from Michelle was you work like you have the job you want, and that stuck with me. So every day I came into work as if I was an assistant coach, whether it's making her job easier, making our players' jobs easier, and carrying myself in a manner where I wanted to be respected as an assistant coach. The next year, that even in that year, I feel like a coach stepped away, so I got promoted to assistant intern. That summer, I helped sign a top 10 class, first one Georgia Tech saw in 10 years. And then I got promoted to assistant. Long story short, we got fired maybe 2 years later. And here comes Louisville. Louisville had an opportunity, and my former boss knew Jeff Walls. She called him, and I came here, hit the ground running. They needed a firecracker. They needed somebody to recruit, and I was willing to do that job and do whatever it takes. This program has always been successful, so I knew what I could bring here. And it goes to, I'll talk about this a little later. Work is work. That's down on the wall in our locker room right now. Sorry, Papa, you okay? Okay, sorry. But it's on our wall right now. And that goes, when you get into a program or you get into a new environment, you always want to leave it better than you found it. And that's my motto. So that's a little bit of my background, very different than a lot of coaches, but I wouldn't have it any other way, because no matter what you do, I'll go back to say this: work like you have the job you want.
That's awesome. I hope everybody heard this. Like, college D2 didn't get the gig, kept trying, invested in herself, stayed the course, found ways to be important, and then no job to two in arguably the best conference of women's college basketball. So I hope you kind of connected those dots. If you didn't, I just did it for you. So JP, you talk a little bit about work is work, which now that I follow you on social, I know the deal and we've talked about it, but could you please explain a little bit? Because this is a leadership course, and I know this is kind of a life motto for you, a mantra, but I also see it in how you lead yourself. So could you tell us a little bit about work is work and its origin?
Absolutely. And before I get into that leadership aspect for me, one thing I put in my notes, and as I'm looking right now, I've learned this through my last, going on 11 years being a coach. My leadership skills come from my instincts of survival and overcoming obstacles that I've been faced with. Long story short, work is work. Okay. So that mantra, that quote, motto, whatever you would like to call it, it stuck with me. I had a really good friend, Travis Wallace. He is huge right now in strength and conditioning world. He started strength and conditioning. He was a coach for Kyle Lowry. The year Kyle Lowry won the NBA championship with the Toronto Raptors, I think he lost about 35 pounds in the offseason. Looked the best he's ever looked. And it was something that I loved because they tweeted it, they said it every single day. Here at Louisville, we are striving to get to a Final Four, my first Final Four, my first NCAA tournament. And I was like, I called him. I said, Trav, I love this, and I'm about to take it. Can Louisville put it on shirts? He was like, go ahead. And I was like, I want to get it trademarked. I got visions for it. I want to get Adidas to put it on shirts. And sorry, y'all. Hold on one second. Got to get the bottle. There you go. There you go. So we put it on shirts, and it stuck with me because I think these young people and young women, they see us every day as, oh, you're our coach, you make all this money, you just tell us what to do. So I tried to put myself in the trenches with them, whether it's in practice, whether it's how I live my life, my lifestyle choices. That includes food, that includes how I look, how I carry myself every day. So I am a big advocate of you are what you preach. I'm in the gym 24/7. Now I can't lift like them or run like them, but they see me grinding like they are. And I want them to know that whatever opportunity that I'm going to be faced with when it comes to coaching on the court or off the court, they know that they have Coach Jay, and Coach Jay has been through it, and she's going to put herself through it. So that's where work is work comes from. And it just goes back to what I talked about. It's a part of my leadership style, but it goes it's more so based on my instinct to survive and to overcome obstacles that I've been faced with. At the end of the day, work is work. Get it done.
I love the simplicity of it too. It's just like to the point. Like
Fact.
I'm gonna outwork you. Like the work is what the work is. So
Absolutely.
so guys, I know y'all have questions. Ian and Tremaine, I'm looking specifically at you. And so it is now your turn. I have asked my two. So what y'all got?
Um, yeah. I was gonna ask how was that jump to from D2 to D1? Was it very significant? I know I've seen on the guys side. What would you say the difference in like programming player is like?
Yeah. So, elite athlete, faster, stronger, more skilled. even myself, I'm like, yeah, I could never have played here at Georgia Tech. Like, this is nuts. So that's the one thing. And the love of the game, I think every level, no matter what, you got to be confident in where you decide to go. I decided to pick a Division II school because that's where I was going to be successful there. Now, when I moved up as a coach, I was a little, I wouldn't say I was insecure, but I was a little hesitant on like, are they going to listen to me because I played Division II basketball? And I knew that was the wrong approach to have. So I had to go in there confident, like I knew what I was talking about. Even if I was wrong, I was the most confident. Listen, I used to do things like this, man. Hey, we're going to do this drill. It's Kobe's drill. You ever seen it before? They're like, no, it wasn't Kobe's drill. I just made it up. But if they know that I say it's Kobe's drill, they're going to be like, oh, that's Kobe's drill. We're doing that. Or like, this is Stephen Curry's drill. We're doing this. So those were things I tried to bring to the program. And as far as Division II, D1, I think that's the biggest thing. Speed, power, skill. And from a coaching aspect, Division II, I never coached Division II, but my hat's off to those coaches because they do everything. Those are the most versatile people that you will ever meet. So if you have the opportunity to learn, I think when I become a head coach, I'm going to hire someone because they know how to do everything. And you want to make yourself versatile. I just had the opportunity to be a GA, so I did everything, and I learned that way. Great question.
I'll echo that too. And guys, I'm going to try and not talk and kind of keep the conversation going through the chat. But I will echo that about D2 because I feel like a lot of times folks think that D1 or nothing. My first job in college was coaching D2. I got to coach basketball. I coached softball. I drove the bus. I had to get a CDL. I taught racquetball and I had to register student athletes for academics. I also helped rebrand the logo at the time. So like D2, if D1 is what you want, like D2 is a great step because you get
Absolutely.
so many cookie jars and you're just diversify and make yourself that much more dynamic. So that's my plug for D2. Ian, go for you.
Yeah, I guess my question is, what did you really lean on as your bread and butter as a coach when you got to that Division I level, and where did you feel like there were gaps in your knowledge or ability as a coach that you kind of had to rise up and level up?
That's a great question. One would be just I leaned on my personality, who I was. I learned that early in this career, you cannot try to be someone you're not. You have to be authentic to yourself because in the end, when those players are trusting you and then they're just looking up to you, they want to know who you really, really are. And I think I'm good. Like I'm great. I got the juice. I call myself the juice, man. I'm a dog. Like I know that. I'm the oldest of 6 kids. I've been through so much. So I use that to uh what's a good word? I use that to I'm getting a brain fart here. I use that to connect with them. You know, I use my past, what I've been through, how I wasn't that good, but I can shoot better than you. I use that all to help me, right? And then respect me. And I would say basketball wise, things that I had to get better at. One opportunity that I interned at Georgia Tech. I had the opportunity to learn a lot of film, how to work sports code and just basketball. And I would say at Georgia Tech, I was locked in defensively. I wasn't great on the offensive side of the ball. I wasn't. And I had to get better at that, understanding schemes, understanding how to put players in positions to be successful. And I got really good at that at Louisville. Why? Because Jeff put me in a position. He's like, okay, Jay, you gotta learn this. And those were things that I wasn't good at it, so I didn't act. I just sat there and I learned from Sam Purcell, Beth Burns, Coach Norman, Jeff himself. He's a wizard. And I was just a sponge every single day asking questions. That's a great question. But one thing I would say, you guys getting these opportunities, be yourself, be authentic. Because at the end of the day, you're going to regret it if you lose a job or get fired or don't get the job because you're trying to be someone you're not.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome. I see some in the chat.
Bert, you're up. Bert, then we'll
okay.
Sorry. So I had a question about like I've been in the sports business since 2017, and I don't think anybody expected what's going on in college sports currently with the NIL, the transfer portal. Like, my question to you is, how do you stay driven to stay in this business and to keep going? Because this, because I have a lot of colleagues who we were all eager to get into this business at one point, and now, like with all the NIL, like, and it seems like the athletes are just running it themselves. Heck, just today, UNLV had a quarterback that basically quit because he didn't get the NIL promises that he was given. So my question to you is, why? How do you stay driven to just keep going? Like, what drives you with that?
That's a great question. And let me just comment. I saw that UNLV thing, and that's what he gets for going somewhere where they're making promises. And I think we're all as coaches know, like, I'm crazy. That's why I'm in it. I'm crazy. I'm passionate about helping young people. And, honestly, it's not as bad if you are educated about it and you just be honest. We have kids on our team where we say, hey, listen, they're going to offer you 500K. See ya. I'll help you pack your bags. You should go there. But are you really going to get that? I think you got to be transparent with this generation, and you got to tell them like it is. If someone's offering you something that can change your life and your family, go there. I would have did it, because at the end of the day, I agree. Name, image, likeness should be a part of our sports, but we got to do a better job of having control over it. These young people are out there. They get me paid. You see this poster behind me that says
Yeah,
family? We got to eat. And we don't
yeah,
eat if they don't win. And we don't win if we don't get the players we need. And we don't get the players we need if we're not able to compensate them. So it's a twofold: how it's being organized, how it's being administrated. Right, that probably has to get better, but we're in the beginning stage of it, right? We're in the grassroots stage. So things to find out. But I'm motivated because I think that we are able to have access to young people that can eventually change the world, change sports. So that's where I'm excited about it. I'm a little crazy. You gotta be crazy to do this. You gotta be a little wacky.
yeah. Because
Great
I
question
want
though.
to, yeah, because I want to be a college athletic director someday, and I just hope that this gets better. Like by the time, if that opportunity ever comes for me,
Yeah.
I'm ready, because because the Pandora's box has been opened and it can't be closed now. So I only hope it gets better for everybody's sake.
No facts. And Bert, I would ask, you know, you tomorrow, and the president asks you, okay, how are you going to deal with this new stuff? What would your answers be? I think you got to be ready for that. You got to be ready for anything. You got to be transparent. You got to go with the flow. And we all got to figure it out, you know?
Yep.
That's a great question, though.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Coach. First of all, I just wanted to thank you for talking to us. Really appreciate it. The story of your introduction kind of resonated with me, and just a question regarding that. How did you stay focused and or motivated, kind of trying to keep attempting to work your way up through the ranks?
Mhm.
What prevented you from becoming discouraged? Just some, I guess, thoughts on that.
Yeah, great question. Truthfully, I did get discouraged because I saw people getting opportunities that I weren't getting, and I started to compare myself. But we all know comparison is the thief of joy, and everybody's path is different. The biggest thing for me was my circle that I surrounded myself with. You got to have one or two positive people that are going to push you, and you got to make yourself valuable. What can I bring to the table? So I started coaching AU with the best players in the country, and say, hey, look, you're gonna hire me because you go get one of my players, I gotta come too. So those were things where I used that to my advantage, and I just got an opportunity, but I just worked until the opportunity came and I was ready. So that's a great question. And I worked for free. I didn't mention that. I worked for free. I worked for free. My car got towed, man. I was working at Best Buy, Dick's Sporting Goods. So it wasn't all peaches and cream. It was just work is work. And that's real. But that's a great question. And stay the course. Don't get discouraged. Get you 2 or 3 people around you that's gonna uplift you, and it'll work out for you. Just be ready when it comes.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Rebecca. I'm on the gymnastics team here at Clemson, and my question was, what's your why of coaching and like kind of like what your favorite part is? And then I also wanted to ask what made you want to be a coach, whether those like tie in together or
Great question. First of all, gymnastics. What do you do? What event? What is it event? I'm sorry.
yeah,
Is it
event.
okay? What
I can
event do
be
you do?
all around. So I
Look
train
at
everywhere.
you. That's elite.
Thank
Never
you.
do
Thank you.
that. I tried it like in 7th grade, then quit. No, that's
Oh,
awesome. Okay, great question. My why for you asked for coaching, correct? I want to be able to provide opportunities to young women that look like me. I'm the oldest of 6 kids. My father was not present. He passed away when I was 4. Single mother raised me. Basketball gave me everything I have. I currently have a newborn and I take care of my 14-year-old brother. I want to provide opportunities for them that I didn't have, and also for young women that not only just look like me, but all young women to know that you can do something and you can achieve success if you work for it. Everything, you don't have to play Division 1, you don't have to do this, you don't have to do that, as long as you work. I think right now, as I'm recruiting this generation, they are not believers of hard work pays off. They want instant gratification. They want instant success. And as we all know, you all are in school, that ain't it. You have to work. So that's my why. I want to interact, train, connect, build relationship with these young people that can possibly, like I said earlier, change the world. We're challenging our young women on our team now. Are y'all registered to vote? Like, well, my vote doesn't count. Well, does it really not? Educate yourself a little bit more about those things. So that's my why. And then you asked, I'm sorry, the second part of your question was, why did I get into coaching?
yes.
It kind of goes in the same, but I love basketball. I love the X's and O's part of it. Didn't know how good I would be until I came here and got better and got challenged. I love to figure things out, to scheme. I really love the relationship building, right? I met Jenna through her wife, who I coached against for what, maybe 7 years, who every time I see her on the road, she would be like, man, you so fly, you the juice. And guess what? I just smiled because I knew I was fly. I get dressed really nice when I go recruiting because I want the kids to see it. Like, I want the kids to see, that's Coach A from Louisville. Like, I want to stick out. So those are things where that all has to do everything with why I do what I do. But I love this game. It's growing tremendously. Gymnastics, women's sports in general is growing tremendously. And I want to be a part of that growth for sure. Great question.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hi, Coach. Thanks so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. My name is Haley Bilbrook. I serve as the Director of Operations for our volleyball team here. Something that really resonated with me was you said that your job is to make the head coach's job easier. Can you kind of elaborate more on that?
Absolutely. That's man, first off, we play y'all soon, don't we? Sunday, right?
Next
Go Cards
week. We'll be coming to
next week.
Kentucky next week. Yeah.
Next week. Go Cards, baby. No, I'm just kidding. I hope I get to meet you. Yeah, so another gem that I learned early in my career as a GA, I knew at the previous institution, my boss, she liked 4 waters every practice. 4 waters. And I'm telling y'all think it don't matter, but she would walk over to the table. And if there wasn't 4, I don't know, because she would take one, it would end up at the half court line, another one would end up on the baseline, and the opposite. And then that was 3, and then it's no more. Now she's got to worry about water. And those little things can go a big way. So my job as an assistant is, now that I work with Jeff, how can I make his job easier when it comes to recruiting, Okay, let me set him up for success and tell him everything he needs to when he talks to this certain kid. When he comes to practice and he's just getting off the road recruiting, hey, Walls, we went over offense last practice. I think we got to do this. So anything I can do, because as a head coach, they're going to deal with maybe 4 or 5 things a day that they didn't expect to deal with. As really, really good assistants, we got to make sure everything else in the program is steady Eddie. And I think as you all learn more and get to dive into whether it's volleyball teams, baseball teams, football teams, most of those successful programs have really, really good assistants because they are striving to do whatever they can to make their boss look good. Like, it's not about me. When we win a game or a crew comes to Louisville, they're not saying Coach JP, it's Jeff Walls. And I'm okay with that. That's a great question. I think that get lost a lot in translation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Coach JP. Thank you so much for being on this call with us, and congratulations on your new addition. So exciting. He's adorable. My name is Bridget, and I am a grad transfer on the women's lacrosse team. And I love the mantra, leave the place better than you found it. And it's something that we said a lot at my previous school and tried to live by in our everyday life. And I was just kind of curious how you incorporate that within your own program.
Bringing who I am, being my authentic self. The work is work mantra. They didn't have no mantras at Louisville. It was just they were good and they won. And I think I needed to bring in the year I came in, believe it or not, Louisville had the number 2 draft pick, Asia Durr. She went to the WBA. They didn't sign anybody when it came to recruiting. We brought a kid in from Japan. The year I got here, 2 players came with me from the previous institution, and I'm like, listen, remember what I said? This is where I can have an impact on this program. They already win. They have good coaches. I need to recruiting. So those players came over. I just work every day, whatever I could do. And I didn't want to leave here, whether I got a head coaching job or took another opportunity. I probably wasn't. And they say, man, JP didn't have an impact on this program. It's a pride thing. I think you don't want to be in a situation where I'm blessed, but you don't want to leave a place worse than you found it. I don't want to come in here and it's a dumpster fire because it's all my fault. But I think that's where it came from. Just a sense of pride, just wanting to be successful. That's a good question. I appreciate you. Good luck this year.
I'm going to jump in because that kind of takes me Bridget's question, Wilson's question. You know, like JP's making a mark specifically, like she's found her niche, right? Like she's extremely talented with recruiting, which isn't to say she's not great at X's and O's and can't draw up a, badass scouting report, right? Doesn't mean she's not good at the other things. She just might be elite at recruiting. And so, Wilson, I think for you, when you're thinking about, I'm getting passed over for this and this, you need to find what people are looking for, right? And you need to figure out what your thing is and find those matches. Like figure out like what you can be the best of the best at and figure out the programs and the places that are looking for that or lacking that. And that's how you distinguish yourself a little bit. So I just kind of saw heard those two connections. I promise I'm trying not to talk. Sometimes because this is so exciting. All right, go ahead, Lindsay.
Hi, Coach JP. I'm Lindsay. I'm also a grad transfer on the women's lacrosse team. I was just wondering, you talked earlier about how there's kind of a stigma about like it not being cool to work hard. How are you as a leader working to change the stigma around that?
Girl, you need to follow me on Instagram because I'm in the gym every day sweating. No, it's a thing. And let's be honest, let's have a transparent moment, okay? In your recruiting process, as you got to know your coaches, someone telling you to get on the line and do these things that they haven't done, how real, like how much are you're gonna like, coach, come on, like, sometimes we're completely wrong. Sometimes I'm like, girl, that's the wrong pivot foot. You gotta do this. And I could be dead wrong. But guess what? I'm in there doing with it. You're gonna be like, okay, Coach Jay, she might know this might be unorthodox, but she might know what she's talking about. And I think that's where I have that connection. after practice, I'm going to ask you how your day was. I'm going to check on you, build that relationship. So you're going to be able to be a little bit vulnerable with me and trust me. And I think that's where that connection comes from. And that's also where they're like, okay, I get it. I respect Coach J. I understand what she's saying. I think I can follow her leadership and follow that lead. I think that's the biggest thing. And you can attest to this. You might have teammates that are really skilled, but they may not do anything extra, right? But you may have to do 2 and 3 hours of extra work just to be as good as them. And the outcome still ain't the same. Everybody's not the same. The world's not perfect. But I think from a coach's perspective, if I can at least attempt and show and build and have some vulnerability with my players, I think that goes a long way. I mean, I might be wrong, but it's been working for me for 6 years. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, great.
Hi, Coach. My name's Bronwyn. I played basketball all throughout high school, and I played
Okay.
some AAU teams, and I
What
played
position?
I played center, but I played point guard in AAU. I played center in high school and point guard in AAU.
That's crazy. Okay. You must
Um,
be, how tall are you?
I'm 6 foot.
Oh yeah, I see it. Point forward.
Yep. And I was just wondering, like, from a coach's perspective, like, how do you ensure that leadership within the team doesn't just come from like captains or veteran players, but from the whole team as a whole, like as a community? Or would you prefer that leadership comes from like single players or just the captains? Or
That's a great question. And honestly, it's different every year because the past year, let me say my year we went to a Final Four here, it just came from everybody. We had 2 transfers that were really good. We had veterans that been on the team that knew the system and knew what coach wanted. But our transfers were really good. And I think everybody respected everybody and had a goal. And as coaches, sometimes you just got to let them figure it out. I would say last year we really struggled with leadership because we had transfers, we had returners, but we had people that were not afraid to lead, or what they would say, I don't know how to lead. And I think leadership is instinctive. Leadership is a skill and it's a gift, and everyone can't do it because it's really hard. As a leader, you're not going to be perfect every day. And as a leader, you got to have to be able to accept that you're not going to make everybody happy. And I think that was our problem last year. Our leaders wanted to make everyone happy all the time. And that's impossible in leadership to me. I just don't see it. So I think it just really depends on the team. And I think as coaches, sometimes you want to step in and you want to correct, but you also have to take a step back and allow the team to figure that out. And I think when you figure it out as a coach, what type of team you'll have, then you'll understand what type of leadership you need, whether you'll need 4 captains, 2 captains, 1, or if it's going to be a team led, or the team won't lead and you're just going to have to lead them. And the best teams are teams that are led by the players in my experience. That's been our most successful teams here. That's a great question.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, my name is Shay. I'm actually uh I'm getting my master's in nutrition here, but I have an interest
Okay.
in like sports nutrition. Um, I was wondering, so we're doing a project in this course and my team is currently looking at like coachability and what that means and everything. Um, Basically what I found is they don't have a clear definition in any of the literature. So I was wondering what you would describe as like what would be your definition of coachability?
In your field, if you give them a meal plan, they need to follow it. That's being coachable, and coachability to me. But I would just say just be willing to take risks, willing to be vulnerable, and willing to do something that you haven't done before. Those 3 things, coachability to me. If you asked me what that was, if that was I would give you that. And as I said earlier, in your profession as a nutritionist, when it comes to, even how we use our nutritionists here, athletes have to be vulnerable with you in order to have success. And you, as you grow in your profession, you know that for women, girl, we look in the mirror every day and we're not happy with what we look like. And you're in a space where you can provide confidence through what we eat, how we look. And I think that's great. So I wish you the best. But it's coachability is just being all those things that I said. And I'm gonna pray for you wherever you end up, because ooh, girl, it's tough. It's tough.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Coach JP. My name is Andrew Reynolds. I'm a sport performance coach in the private sector based out of Columbus, Ohio. One, I want to thank you for your time today. I think you've had a lot of nuggets, that I've taken, from the work is work to the work like you have the job that you want, to leave it better than you found it. I think one thing, the question that I have for you is through your experience at the Division II, at the Division I, at your internship, what was the best piece of advice that was given to you that stuck with you and that resonates in your heart?
Ooh, that's a great question. The best advice that was given to me that stuck with me. Be yourself. Do the job how your heart, wherever your heart desires. Like, be authentic, man. Like, you can't get in this business, whether it's nutrition, whether it's coaching, whether it's administration, and not be who you are. I think I cannot harp on that over and over and over. If you're a guy and you're in the sports performance industry and you got to get it in and work out, I'm looking at your traps. They look great. I can see them through the shirt. Like, if that's what you got to do, if that's who you are, be that person, man. Like, that's the biggest thing. And then communication eliminates confusion. Be confident in your plan, be confident in your voice. I think as young people in professions, we don't feel confident in things that we know that are correct, or we don't speak up. Please speak up, because if you're hired for the job, they didn't hire you to sit there and be a yes man or woman. They hired you to have input. And I think early in my career, I didn't understand that. So those two, I would say, are super, super important to me. Be who you are, and communication eliminates confusion. Speak up, share your thoughts, share what you think, share what you're passionate about, because I guarantee you, when you're sitting at that table with the head coach, the boss, the administration, they want to hear from you. They didn't hire a mute.
That's good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I'm saying those traps look good. You know that too. They're popping out the shirt, buddy.
He's worth a follow on
Hey,
his
Coach
too. Andrew is. I've picked up some new tricks from him. So
Okay, I gotta see what we working with.
Hey, Coach JP, it's Bryce. I'm a event operations VA here at Clemson.
Okay.
I was wondering, being a coach calls for finding or creating your own leadership style. I was wondering if you had anybody that come to your mind that you looked up to for their leadership style, or if you had any good books or podcasts that you would, frequently listen to or read that kind of help you create that type of leadership style.
Oh, that's great. That is great, Bryce. Thank you for the question. I got a couple if you want to write. So my first one is Sideline CEO. I just started that book this summer. Amazing. That really helped me figure out what type of leader I was and how I was trying to be something I wasn't. That was a really good. The Tough Stuff. That's a good book. That's another good book. I read that 2 summers ago. I have them all in my office. I'm looking them up right now. And then I do have a podcast. I and you know what? I'll challenge you all to listen to podcasts that don't have nothing to do with what you're doing, because you'll find this is really crazy. I listened to the audiobook, Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter by 50 Cent. And I guarantee you, the nuggets that you get out of that is amazing. He's sitting in a room with billionaires, the vitamin water he did, vitamin water deal he did, and how he did it and why he did it. I felt like that book made me a better person in meetings with people that are higher ranked than me. I learned how to connect with them. So that's really good. And I got one good podcast. Yeah. I've been trying to do better and now I like my little Narcos podcast, but that's not it. That's not the one. Hold on. This is another artist, but it's expeditiously. It's by T.I. If y'all can see that down there, that's a really, really good one. He's a brilliant young man. I could type that in the chat as well. So those are a couple I listen to. I try to listen to a lot of podcasts that have nothing to do with basketball. I listen to the Ramsey Show, Planet Money, anything, because those are just different types of leadership styles and leadership things that I'm willing to learn. So those are what I've listened to in the past. What I'm currently listening to now, I could tell you really quick. Are you waking up? I'm sorry, y'all. Audiobook. You got all these apps on your phone. Is there anything that you listen to right now or you're reading that you could tell me about?
I like Coach K. So
Okay.
I'm reading like his books right now. I
Okay.
can't remember that name. It was like a maroon book, but now I'm reading the gold standard. So I just wanted to get a coach's perspective on,
Yep.
but yeah, I'm a big Coach
Okay.
K fan. I do Dave Ramsey stuff
Coach
too.
K is amazing. All right, two more. One of them is You're a Badass audiobook. That's a book. The Alchemist. That's a good one. And last but not least, Chop Wood, Carry Water. I probably read that book once a year.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you
Great.
so much.
No, thank you. Appreciate that.
All right.
Keep them coming. Keep them coming.
Ian and Tremaine, y'all are going to bring us home. Ian, you're up first, I think.
Okay, great. Thanks for your time, Coach JP. By the way, my name's Ian McVeigh. I coach high school boys basketball in Orlando, Florida, at a school called Orangewood.
Okay.
So my question is kind of multi-faceted here. It's a 3-in-1. Take it wherever you want to go. How do you create a sense of ownership in your players? And I want your opinion. Do you think it's more nurture from a coach's perspective, or is it nature? Is it in the players that you're getting? At your level, you get to recruit. I don't really have as much opportunity to recruit. So it's kind of, I have to kind of try to coach it into them a little bit more. And kids today are different than when I was playing high school ball. And I feel like there's not quite as much a sense of ownership with these guys. And so to finish that off, what has been the secret sauce for creating a positive culture, a culture of ownership in such an evolving landscape in college athletics and really just athletics as a whole? I mean, players are changing. How do you create that sense of ownership? Do you think it's nurture or is it nature?
That's a really great question. And I'm going to answer it backwards if that's okay.
No
so
problem.
The first part, the last part, you asked just how do we create that culture? Well, it all starts in the type of people that you bring into your program. And I know for you, it's super hard because you got people moving in, moving out, transferring in. You don't know what you're going to get. I think we really value here at Louisville the type of person. And we have to, you know why? Because of the type of environment. I think, was it Bert asked about the NIL space. If we're getting kids that, hey, I need $500,000, those are not the kids that are going to be successful here at Louisville. Because if you know Jeff Walsh, he's probably the budget of the budget. Like if we got $50, he's spending probably not 50. He's spending 20 if he can. He is a a guy of just knowing deals, knowing how to make his money work for him. So those are kids we're not even going after. I think it all starts with the type of players you recruit and how do you get to know who those players are. Well, you got to do your research. I think a lot of coaches just player, parent. I'm talking to the grandma, I'm talking to the aunt, the cousin. I'm going on Instagram, figuring out who they're in pictures with, the best friend, the coach, the trainer. Coach, I'm telling you, if I'm recruiting one of your players, I'm calling you. I'm talking to your counselor. High school coaches are so important and they matter. You know why? Because it goes to your next part, ownership and nurturing. You're going to be able to tell me everything about that young person that I need to know because you're dealing with them from a day-to-day basis. And for you, I think it's more when you're building, like right now we have 7 freshmen, we're nurturing those young women. We are building, we're installing the Louisville culture. You're not the first person to leave the gym. You're the first person in the gym, the last person to leave the gym. And we're installing that in them and we're teaching them. So I think it's twofold. If you have veterans and older people that have a standard for you as a high school coach, if you have seniors and upperclassmen that know your standard and what you want, it's their job to install that into the young people, but you can't count on them. So sometimes you may have to step in those cases and then build from there. But you got to, from day one, coach, as you go into that locker room and you have those meetings with those guys, I think guys are so different because guys just want to look good. Guys look good, they play good. Girls got to feel good and they can't have broke up with their boyfriend and all that, and then we're going to be successful. So it's twofold, but that's a great question. And that's my answer. I hope that kind of helped you out.
I appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Best of luck this year.
Thank you. I'm always in Orlando recruiting. So, if we connect, I would love to come to a practice or something. I'm going to probably be there in a month or so.
Fantastic. That'd be awesome.
Yes, sir. Yep.
So much.
And I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm Coach Pride. I coach at the junior college down here in North Carolina, Sand Hills Community College. My
You
wife
got some
actually
kids
coaches.
for me?
Say what? I
You got
coach
some
men's
players for us?
basketball, but I do have to
Okay.
say my wife is a head women's coach at a high school here. So come to Pinehurst if you can. I got to put it out.
Yeah, we need to tap in. There we go. Okay.
But my question was, which Janet kind of touched on earlier, was what is it that you do that no one else can do in your program? And then real quick, what's your best recruiting tip that you would give somebody?
Ooh, okay. What do I do that no one else does in our program that's really good? I do me. I'm Coach J. When I'm not here, no one else can be Coach J. No one else can bring the energy. No one else can put the songs on the aux and dance and do all that. And no one else can do that. And it just goes back to my point. I am who I am and I'm my authentic self and I bring that space. And I think as I just add to that, we wouldn't be as successful as we are here at Louisville if someone tried to be me. Does that make sense? I'm not trying to be Coach Norman. I'm not trying to be Coach Butler, Coach Shea, Jeff Walls. I'm trying to be me. If I'm trying to be them, I'm not focused on the success of our program. And I think man, when I first got here with Beth and Sam, they were so good at that. And I learned that because they're elite level staff. They're Coach Norman, no. She going to get the post players here and she don't want to work them out. She want to go work out and get out. But she knows that. And she's not going to step over that. And I think that's the beauty of it, knowing what you bring. And the last part was recruiting tip, correct?
Yeah, your best one. I'm taking all advice.
My best recruiting tip, start early and be authentic. Be real. These kids, they different.
Yeah,
Hey, Lincoln, they're different, right? They know, they can smell it when you're being fake. And I think the more real you can be and transparent with them, the better off you are. I think my success has come from, as I mentioned earlier, I'm talking to your grandma. Hey, give me your grandma number. I want to talk to her. What y'all doing on Sunday? Or let's get on a FaceTime call. Once you establish that relationship where they're a little bit vulnerable and you're able to get them on FaceTime and see them face to face, I think you're in. Then you just got to be real from there. They want to see you when your hair not done, you don't have a shave, like, man, you just having a hard day. They want to know that you're a normal person too. And I think that social media, the day and age that social media is in right now, everybody's fake, right? It looks fake. Everybody's you're not posting a picture looking crazy. Who's doing that? Raise your hand. None of us, exactly. Not even me. But they want to see the realness of you, and I think that's super important in recruiting. And then don't be afraid to say, hey, like if you're not interested, it's okay. Don't be afraid to do that. As a coach and as a recruiter, sometimes, hey, are you interested in us? Because if not, it's okay. I respect that because they respect that, and that goes a long way.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, that was great. I appreciate y'all.
This was great. We had a full chat, guys. Great questions. Yeah, I always feel like y'all make me look good with the quality of questions that you ask. So thank you for that. Hopefully everybody's walking away with a nugget or two. JP, appreciate you. Thank you for fitting this in. I know there's never really a good time for this stuff, but you also value your development. And so hopefully you got a little something.
Absolutely.
But I will see you soon. Everybody else, I will see you whenever you need to see me. Have a great Wednesday, and JP, I owe you.
No, listen, I just want to say thank you so much, Jenna. Thank you for putting this on. Listen, you guys are taking the next step in your careers and everything, doing things like this. I remember doing things like this. So I appreciate y'all. Jenna has my number, has my social media. Hit me up if you need anything. And I don't just say that to say that. I truly mean it. So good luck. Jenna, you're the teacher, right?
Currently,
so you gotta grade them. Do they get grades?
That is,
Yes, everybody gets an A.
I really want to. I just that's
No,
a lot.
I appreciate
That's a lot more fun for me. So
I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much. Good luck to everybody.
all right, go Tigers. L's up. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Thank you.
Let's go. How to get off?
I know I'm doing this.